Welcome back everyone. Today we're going to be making a dish that my friends always fight to sit nearest when it's on the dinner table. It is the one, the only Egyptian moussakka. If you've had a Greek one, this is like the spicier, garlicier, tangier version without any of that boring bechamel stuff. It is absolutely perfect and you're going to love it. Now for any moussakka, you're gonna need a bunch of aubergines. We're gonna cut these thick, fry them, and then we'll end up with a nice meaty bite. Now to get started on these, all we gotta do is we gotta peel them. Peeling these aubergines isn't an absolute must, right? The only reason you do it is because the skin can sometimes be quite bitter. But there's another reason I do it, which is that if you don't peel them, the skin keeps it tight and then they shrink in thickness rather than shrink in size when they're frying. I want them to be nice and meaty and thick, so I'm gonna peel them all the way. But you could just alternate it if you want. There you go, and then you can slice something like that. Once they're peeled, you just need to slice them into nice thick slices. I go for about 1.5 centimeters or just over ½ an inch. When you get to the end, just take off that little bit of bum because if you don't, the last one will just puff up and sometimes they explode. Now, other than the aubergines, you're gonna need some green chilies. These are just some medium strength green chilies, nothing too spicy, but what you wanna do is you wanna just give them a few little pokes so that they don't explode in the pan. And once you've worked your way through the aubergines, it is time to salt them. Now that they're all sliced, I'm just gonna arrange them, kind of exposing one side. Don't need to be perfectly arranged, but basically aubergines tend to have bitter flavors in them. It's kind of been bred out over the years, but you do occasionally get the odd aubergine with some really bitter flavors in it. And the way you get rid of that flavor is by salting them, letting the moisture draw out the dark, bitter, stringent flavors. So I always do that step because one time I didn't and I just couldn't eat the food. And then grab some just regular table salt. You're gonna use quite a bit. So I use about 3 to 4 tablespoons. You don't even need to measure it. Just heavily salt the hell out of these. It's gonna look stupid. We're gonna wash off all that excess salt at the end, don't worry. So you won't actually get very salty aubergines. Well, the other thing that the salt does is it's gonna pull out excess moisture from the aubergines. So aubergines actually have a crazy amount of water in them. And if you fry them without salting them, that moisture has to evaporate while it's frying. And so they got to sit there in the oil longer. They'll absorb more oil as well. So now that they're all salted, I'm just gonna roughly mash them a bit like this, just to make sure they get it on the other side as well. Then I'll transfer them into a bowl with a strainer in it. They'll sit in this salt for probably ½ an hour to 40 minutes, maybe an hour. If you leave them for longer, it doesn't really do much more. That's all the salted aubergine. It's ready to sit. I'm just gonna put it behind me. And over the course of the video, you'll see how much liquid comes out of these. To cook everything, I'm going to use a stainless steel pan like this one from today's sponsor, Made In. We're going to use it to cook the meat, make the sauce, and fry the aubergines. Now, I've been a big fan of Made In for years. Their cookware is seriously the best quality I've used. After all, their specialty is making professional quality cookware for the home cook, and it really shows. Their stainless steel collection is built using 5 layers of steel sandwiched together to create cookware with superior heat retention that heat up evenly across the surface and give you really precise control over the heat. That's why their cookware is used by chefs in over 4,000 top-rated restaurants and by over 1.4 million home cooks. And since it's just stainless steel without any non-stick coatings, you can get the same performance of a non-stick surface without the risk of any metals or chemicals leaching into your food. And it's not just the quality, it's the details and design too, like being able to use the cookware up to 800 degrees so you can go straight from the stove to the oven. But my favorite feature is the curvature of the walls, which make it so easy to sear and flip your foods, and the rolled rim, which makes pouring sauces absolutely spill-free. So check out the stainless steel collection and Made In's other cookware by using the link in my description so you can save on your order. So while those aubergines are draining, we can cook the meat. And it's quite simple. It's just typical Middle Eastern minced meat that we put in everything. I'm gonna start off with a stainless steel pan. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of oil or butter. This is just olive oil, but whatever butter or oil you have. I'm gonna turn that on to medium high. I'm gonna let that heat up. Now, once the oil is shimmering, spread it out, and then I'm gonna add in the meat. Now, the meat is just minced beef. You can use minced lamb. It's 500 grams, and so in that goes. And then once it's in, you need to press it out. Imagine you're pressing it into one big burger. Get as much contact with the pan as possible. And then just let that sit for about 2 to 3 minutes. It'll develop a bit of a crust and a bit of a browning on the bottom side. So that's been about 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm gonna break it up into some larger chunks and flip them over. And then once they're flipped, I'm just gonna use my spatula to continue breaking them up. So you can go as small as you want, but for something like this, I think about pieces the size of a large pea should be good. I'm just gonna turn it up so that it can evaporate that water a bit quicker as well. So it's gonna take a couple more minutes of cooking, and you're looking for all of the pink to have disappeared before you move on to the next step. So you can continue breaking it up as you see fit. You don't want massive chunks, yeah? Okay, now we don't have much color. You can see it's looking pretty gray, but there is no pink on there. We can start adding the rest of the ingredients. I've got 1 medium onion, which has been chopped to a medium dice. Also a couple of cloves of garlic, just minced. We just stir. So we'll cook that for just about 2 minutes until the onions begin to soften. Smells so goddamn good. So those are started to soften. So I'm just gonna add in the seasonings. We've got 3/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. All you're gonna need to season this. You could add some other spices if you want, like some baharat or some nutmeg, but for this moussaka, I think just keep it plain salt and pepper. Mix that in. So now we're gonna develop some browning. Most of the moisture will have evaporated, so we should be able to get some good color on these. All right, we've started to get some color. This has just shifted from gray to more of a brownish color. You can develop more color than this, but for this recipe, since it's going to be in a sauce, doesn't really matter too much. It is looking nice. Now, the little trick that we learned to do recently, which just gives you so much more flavor and texture, is after you've got to this point, you're going to take a little bit of water, just a few tablespoons, pour it in, and then just cover this with a lid. All right, let's take a look. So the minced beef looks ready, looks nice and moist. It's developed a nice medium brown color. So let's get that off the stove. That is some pretty basic Middle Eastern minced meat. I often bulk cook this and just freeze it as it is, then I can use it in different recipes. But this is something that if you've got a prep day and you make ahead of time, you can even just chuck this on rice or in some wraps or anything like that for some extra protein. Let's make the tomato sauce now. All right, now this tomato sauce is what makes Egyptian moussaka different. It's got loads of garlic, vinegar, and chili, and it gives the moussaka its punchy kick. I'm gonna make it in the same pan that I made the minced beef in, but that's kind of a bad idea. I usually do this in a pot, but it just looks better on camera. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off by adding about a tablespoon of oil in there, and I'm gonna put it on medium high. When the oil is shimmering, we're gonna go in with a bunch of garlic. This is 10 cloves of garlic. You want plenty of it for loads of flavor. I'm gonna add that in. And I've also got 1 green chili. This has just also had some holes punched in it like the other one. I'm gonna fry off this garlic for about 30 seconds till it's really aromatic. So the key here is you don't want the garlic to brown. You just want to get it nice and flavorful. So keep it moving. Once it's really starting to smell nice, you'll go in with some cumin. This is going to be another primary flavoring of this dish, and some white vinegar. This is quite a bit of white vinegar, 60 ml, and that's going to give us the acidic kick to the dish that we want. So we're going to cook off the vinegar for about 30 seconds or so. Oh, that smells so good and punchy. Now I'm going to go in with our tomatoes. So we've got 400 grams of chopped tomatoes. These are still chunks, just regular canned ones. Then we've got 400 grams of basically blended chopped tomatoes or tomato passata. Add that in as well. We've also got a little bit of lemon juice and then 200 ml of water, which I'm just gonna rinse out the cans with. See, this is why I do it in a pot, because that's gonna splatter like crazy. All right, that has come up to a nice simmer. So I'm gonna turn the heat down to medium. And I'm just gonna let that cook away. We wanna reduce this down to what, maybe half its amount. So it's gonna take between 20 to 40 minutes. Just make sure it's got a gentle simmer going, just a few bubbles here and there. So we'll just keep an eye on that. All right, let's take a look at the aubergines. As you can see, there is some brown liquid at the bottom of the bowl. It's not that much. These don't really release as much moisture as I usually expect them to. So I'll grab a bunch like this and just kind of just give them a hand squeeze. You can see as I do that, so much liquid comes out of them. You don't want to squeeze them too hard, yeah? Don't squeeze them until they turn into pancakes. We're just trying to release whatever loose liquid there is in there. You're not squeezing the heck out of them, yeah? Don't take your anger out on them. Just run through those, pull them out, and then afterwards we'll take them and wash them off. See? That's a lot more liquid. Now, if there are bitter flavors in there, hopefully this should have siphoned most of them off. Maybe it's not gonna pull all of them out, but you know what? I'm never gonna skip this step again after that one time it messed up my dish. Now those have drained off quite a lot of liquid, but they're still quite salty. So I'm gonna take them and I'm gonna run them each individually under the tap for a couple of seconds, and then I'm gonna put them back in that draining rack so that any excess liquid from washing them does drain off. off. We've got our washed aubergines here. There's still some surface moisture on them. So I'm gonna take a clean kitchen towel. It's just stained, don't worry, it's clean, right? And I'm gonna space these out. This is just gonna help draw off more of that excess moisture. The less moisture there is, the less splattering you're gonna get when you come to fry these. Now, if you're the kind of person who doesn't fry at home, what the hell are you even doing? You can try and air fry these. You can also brush them with oil, put them in the oven at the hottest temperature. It's just not gonna be as deliciously decadent and tasty as if you properly fry them. So I recommend, first of all, get a grip, because frying at home is just fun and good to do. And second of all, give it a try first. It's really not as scary as you think. And you can just put that on top as well, just to pull off moisture from the top side. We'll just let that sit, and then we'll come over here and we'll prep the frying area. So you're gonna start off with a big frying pan. This is my biggest one, and the large surface area is gonna mean I can fry more all at once. I'm gonna turn the temperature up to high, because we're gonna need it to be ripping hot for these. And I'm gonna pour in some vegetable oil, some frying oil, peanut oil, whatever kind you like to use. Pour it in so it's about 2 centimeters deep. You want the pieces to be able to float in there. And next to it, I've just got a small tray which has got some paper towels in there. When the aubergines are cooked, I'm gonna take them out of this and put them onto this tray to drain off. And other than the aubergines, the other thing we're gonna fry is gonna be these green chilies. All right, I think the oil is finally hot enough. Let's give it a check. Is it bubbling? Yeah, just about starting to. I'm just gonna go in there with the first batch of aubergines. Because we've squeezed out quite a bit of water from these, you'll see they're gonna fry nicely and pretty quickly, but also they're not gonna splatter all over the place. If we hadn't done that, then you would have all this oil flying everywhere as the water in them evaporates. But these should be nice and tame. Now you're gonna cook these for, usually it's between 4 to 8 minutes per side. Just depends on how hot the oil is. These have started to develop some browning. It's been about 6 minutes. You can see, obviously each pan will have hot and cold spots. You're gonna give them maybe another 4 to 6 minutes, check on them again. You want them to just be roughly that color all over, and then they'll be ready to take out. So it's only been about a couple minutes, but they're already starting to brown. So I'm gonna pull them out. If you do find they're getting too hot, you can pull them out straight away. Then you can just go straight in with the next batch. This will probably end up cooking a lot quicker than the first one as well, now that the oil is fully up to temperature. If you're the kind of person who worries about oil bubbling over, one thing you can do is you can fry in a wok instead of a pan like this. It'll just give you a bit more extra height and a little bit more safety in case there is a bit too much moisture in your food. But just be confident, man. Just be confident. What's the worst that's gonna happen? The house catch fire? Maybe. And then just stack them on top again. All right, these last ones are ready to come out. Finally done with the frying. Only 3 rounds because I did a big pan. However, if you are gonna be making this many, I'd suggest actually making extra aubergines, because fried aubergines are fantastic. Or if you've got any leftovers, you can always use them to make aubergine pickles, and it's exactly the same steps. Just get this pan of doom off the stove. Now, while those aubergines were frying, this continued to reduce, and you can see now, you can see the bottom of the pan. That's exactly the texture we're looking for. We haven't seasoned this yet. So there's just a little bit of salt and pepper that are gonna go into this. Once those are stirred in, this is gonna make the most delicious, tangy, garlicky, cumin-y tomato sauce. And once it's baked down further in the oven, it's just gonna make these aubergines taste absolutely bomb. All right, now we can get to the fun part, which is the assembly. So the first step of assembling this is we got to combine our meat with the tomato sauce. You want to add about 3/4 or 2/3 of the tomato sauce to the meat. Then you're going to give it a nice mix. You just need a little bit left over for the top, really. Maybe be smart and do this in a bit of a larger container. Right, that doesn't look like anything special. It just looks like some sloppy joes, but trust me, this is packed full of flavor. Now we can finally start assembling. So you're gonna need a big baking dish, and you're gonna assemble directly into this, and it's gonna reduce down. Flavors are gonna get to know each other, and it's gonna get even better. Assembly is gonna be super simple. Just gonna start off with the green chilies. I'm gonna put one on either edge of the baking dish, right? And then you're gonna put aubergine in a single layer. So fill the bottom of it. If you've got plenty of aubergine, you can overlap, but we need enough for 3 layers. So just try and keep that in mind. Once you've got a layer like that, you're gonna add half of this meat mixture on top of it, and then spread that around so you cover the aubergine in a nice layer of meat. All right, first layer done, very simple. Just gonna repeat that one more time. Now, if you've got some bigger pieces, try and save those for the top because they'll look nicer. Hopefully we should have just about enough for the top layer. So after that, just add the meat again. Again, we're doing the rest of the meat here. Now we can top it with the final layer of aubergine. So And this one, just try and place them so that you get as much aubergine coverage as possible. That's what it looks like. We'll add the tomato sauce on top. So this is just gonna caramelize as it cooks down, and it's gonna give us a nice deep umami layer on top. Now that is ready for the oven. This is what it's supposed to look like. Maybe a little bit taller. I think I used the wrong size dish. However, it is ready to go into the oven. It's set to 180 degrees Celsius with the fan, and this is gonna cook for about 40 minutes until it's golden on top and that tomato has reduced down. Absolutely delicious. You got that nice caramelized tomato sauce and those aubergines. We just gotta let this rest a bit before we can serve it, and trust me, it's gonna be worth the wait. Now you don't need to eat this hot. In fact, the name Mousakka, or Mousakka, as it's actually called in Arabic, means chilled, because you can chill it, serve it room temperature, serve it hot, serve it even a little bit cold if you want, with some rice, in some bread. No matter what you do, it is gonna be fantastic. I just can't stop, man.